Ada for not reaching out to my childhood best friend after a fallout over something I don't think is my fault? My 18F childhood best friend, 17F, and I recently had a falling out that involved our families back in early July. It is now late August, and we haven't spoken since. For some context, I moved away from the city where I was born when I was about 7 years old. My family retained some friends from there from work, and so we go down a couple of times a year to see some, in particular, my childhood best friend, let's call her Anne, and her parents. Back in early July, my dad and I went on a day trip to see said friends. During this time, Anne and I went around the local mall, drove around, I recently got my license, and overall had a nice chat. My dad had mentioned to her parents he was feeling a bit unwell, but had tested negative for earlier that morning, so it was probably just a cold. A couple of days later, my dad tests positive for and contacts Anne's family to let them know. Anne then texts me, saying that her and parents are positive, so now she cannot go on a trip to Italy she had planned with her friends out of fear of giving it to one of her friend's grandparents. I ask where she got it from, and she said, probably your dad. I apologize and say it was out of our control since my dad appeared to be negative the day of seeing them, but this kind of thing can happen, and we're sorry. Anne then implied that we somehow did know that my dad had and deliberately ignored the fact to go see them, almost incredulous that my dad could have given it to them before appearing positive. It's also important to add that my dad is immunosuppressed. This means that we're not irresponsible when it comes to managing, especially out of fear for my dad's health. Anne knows this. After my mother finds out about this, she messages Anne's mother to apologize and wish them the best. Anne's mother responds by saying their summer has been ruined and that Anne's father had to go to the hospital. We later find out they sent him away because he just wasn't unwell enough. Anne's mother mentions trying to get money back for flights, etc., and the general disruption getting it caused. Anne and I have not spoken since the incident. I messaged her maybe a week later asking if we were okay, and she says, mainly, but I'm still annoyed about not being able to go to Italy. To which I respond that I'm sorry it happened, but she can't blame us since we didn't know, and it isn't our fault. I go to university overseas in 2 weeks, and I'm quite hurt she hasn't reached out. We've been friends for 17 years. I honestly feel like she blames me and my family, especially my dad, for giving it to her family, meaning she can't go on her trip to Italy. I also feel like her mother has been blaming us. So, Aya,